All right, welcome. This is video 2 in the blended quotes instructions. So if you haven't yet, check out part 1, and then I'll pick up here where that video left off. So we're going to try to integrate the quote that was in red on the last video. There's two things you need to ask yourself when you do a blended integration, and that is, what's the situation and who's speaking? Those two things end up being the context and the speaker tag. So here's a few examples of how to work in the red quote. Remember, the quotes are both from the final chapter of the House at Pooh Corner. And here's a couple ways to do it. The first one says, in the final chapter, Milne writes. Context, it's the final chapter. Speaker tag, Milne writes. That's the author. Now, the second one says, with Christopher Robin and Pooh in their last moments together, the author says. So the context is in blue, and then the speaker tag is in green. There's no one right way to do it. There's lots of different ways you can put it. These are just different examples. An ing verb to start this would be setting up an emotional goodbye, Milne writes, and then you continue on to the quote. So as long as the blue material is an incomplete sentence and there's a green speaker tag after it, then you're good. You'll notice that there is a comma between the context and the speaker tag. It's usually just to give a little bit of space for the context, just so the reader can pause for a moment before they move on to the next part of the sentence. If it's a really short one, you don't necessarily need a comma. Like the first one, comma I think would be optional there. But with the second one, for sure, it's a long introductory phrase. You're going to need a comma just to give the reader a second to reset. The last one is a subordinating conjunction as Christopher Robin prepares to leave for adulthood. And typically you will do a comma when you begin a sentence with a subordinating conjunction to separate it from the rest of the sentence. So all of those are good ways to do it, and they all are an incomplete thought in blue, speaker tag, and then of course right after the speaker tag has to go a comma. Even when you write dialogue, you have speaker tag, comma, and then your dialogue. So that's just typical. This one I'm going to let you work on. So again, your questions to yourselves are, what's the situation? And then who's speaking? Context, speaker tag, and then here's your purple quote. Pooh, promise you won't ever forget about me ever, not even when I'm 100. So pause your video now if you need to, and see if you can actually create a blended integration with context and the speaker tag. Okay, I'm going to assume you've tried it at this point. You've unpaused it, or you just let it roll. And here are some examples that I'll show you. I start with a subordinating conjunction before leaving Pooh behind in the 100-acre woods. Christopher Robin says. Next one starts with the word in. In the final conversation between them, Christopher Robin says to Winnie the Pooh. And last one has an ing, has an adverb before it, but still, it's an ing verb. Reluctantly transitioning into adulthood, Christopher Robin says to his bear, and the quote. Again, there's no single right answer. There's lots of good ways to do this. These are just a few different ones that you could try.